What's going on, y'all? My name is Damien, and on this channel, I talk about cloud security, DevSecOps, and offer career advice within those two areas or within the realm of cybersecurity. And in today's video, I'm basically going to be showing y'all or talking about a certification path for becoming a cloud DevSecOps engineer in 2025. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. All right, so before I actually get into talking about the certification path specifically to AWS, because AWS is the bee's knees, and I'm a community builder as well. So yeah, definitely want to talk a little bit about that. But I highly recommend that you guys follow or check out the DevSec Blueprint. It's basically an open source project that I started that really talks about how to become a DevSecOps engineer or grow your career within DevSecOps. So the key thing about it is that you end up learning a lot about, the core principles of DevSecOps, cybersecurity, software development, DevOps, and you also get to exercise some of those DevSecOps related skills by completing some of the projects like creating your own home lab and also creating your own DevSecOps pipeline in AWS as of late. In the future, we plan on updating this with more content as we go along, but ideally, if you want to get into DevSecOps, this is the first place that I recommend you start, and also join our Discord as well, which I'll put in the description of this video. All right, so now that we've kind of covered the DevSec Blueprint at a very high level, definitely make sure you go check that out. Let's talk a little bit about the certification path that you need, or the certifications that you need to get in order for you to become a DevSecOps engineer in the cloud. So starting with AWS specifically, or talking about AWS specifically, the key reason why I chose this is not just because I'm a community builder and I create content revolving around AWS services, but because I think AWS's community is great to start off when you are attempting to learn a cloud service provider, especially if you're new to this. The community has so many different resources. It's very, very open to knowledge sharing, and there's a lot of support as well. So I think if there's any CSP that I would recommend you start with or you would start to learn, it would be AWS. Just throwing that out there. This document was put together by Training and Certification by AWS. This certification or this certification path will allow you to be able to accelerate enterprise cloud adoption while while enabling, rapid and stable delivery of capabilities using CI/CD principles, methodologies, and technologies, right? So I can tell you just based on my experience looking at this that I have got a few of these certs, and as someone who's in cloud DevSecOps, I can honestly say that the key ones that I would recommend that you would get first is that if you haven't necessarily gotten a cloud practitioner, this is for someone who's very new to cloud. If you are already in IT, you can definitely skip this because I'm pretty sure you already have some exposure to the services. But I always recommend that if you're new to the cloud completely, even in IT, that you get this cert because it's a foundational cert that helps you learn about the AWS services. So the cloud practitioner is one that I'd recommend. Okay, so the next one would be the SysOps Administrator Associate. So with this particular certification, I've been told that this is definitely the hardest of all of the associate certifications, the Solutions Architect Associate and the Developer Associate. And I think personally, if you are new starting in AWS and you want to become a DevSecOps engineer of some kind, then I would first start with the Solutions Architect because you really get to dive pretty deep into some of the core services, as well as you get that breadth of knowledge across like various different services on what is architecturally the best way to implement things within AWS from a solutions architect perspective. And then I would hop on over into the SysOps Administrator Associate, which is pretty much like heavy into like the operations side of troubleshooting, debugging, monitoring, and all these other different things that it covers within, the realm of AWS. It gets really, really heavy, especially in the monitoring and logging sections of this certification. So I would highly recommend doing the solutions architect first before going for the SysOps administrator. All right, so for the machine learning associate exam, I personally haven't taken this one. Neither did I take the SysOps administrator either. But if you want to, or if you're going to be working with any AI ML projects within AWS of any kind, whether it be SageMaker or, any of the other ones, then I would recommend you get this just to understand, the backings behind all of that, especially if you're going to be building pipelines to deploy to, notebooks and stuff like that, or doing anything that interacts with them or any of the other AI ML services within AWS. So if you're interacting with those, definitely get this so that you can stand out more and be a bit more competitive and a better fit for whatever the role is that you're going to be doing within the realm of DevSecOps. All right, so moving on to the DevOps engineer professional. So if I had to make the recommendation, because this professional exam is a beast, I would say take this one first, the security specialty exam, before you take the DevOps professional exam. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, this is kind of what I would consider the training wheels. This exam is, I would believe, as I've been told, one of the most difficult specialty exams, but it kind of prepares you for the length of time that you'll actually have to sit down and test before you get to the DevOps Pro, because this one is, like I said, is a beast for real. With the security specialty exam, you really get to understand how to secure your environment and everything within AWS. And it's very, very big on some of the core services like IAM. You're going to be learning a lot about threat detection, and learning about incident response. How would you, respond to incidents within AWS's environment? What services would you use? You learn a lot about config. So you learn a lot about the things that is going to help you securely deploy resources into AWS and how you can do that, and how you can monitor all of that as well using AWS services. So the security specialty for a DevSecOps engineer in AWS's environment is absolutely necessary. You can't skip that. All right, so moving on to the DevOps engineer professional, or the DevOps Pro is what I call it. When you take this exam, you're going to be tested. So this exam is about 3 hours long. So it's a very, very beefy exam, and it really tests you on being able to provision, operate, and manage an AWS environment at a very professional level. Like, you're basically going to have to know how to code. You're going to have to understand how, process works and operations within AWS. You're going to make sure and know and have experience with code build, code pipeline, code deploy, all these various different CI/CD services, like the whole code star stack. You're going to have to know. And then you got to know how to monitor this. You got to know how to track the metrics and all this stuff using AWS services. This one is a beast of an exam, but if there's any exam that's really going to prep you on how to just be a cold DevOps engineer, this is the exam. Like, honestly, the security specialty will give you that security portion that you need to join forces with this certification to be a qualified DevSecOps engineer in AWS. So if there is any other certifications that I would recommend you get and you really want to focus on as your end goal, it would really be these two certifications. But in order for you to get here, it's recommended that you basically go through this certification path, and make sure you take note of some of the things that I called out earlier in the video as well, about some of the prerequisite certifications that I personally would recommend that you would take before you move forward, okay? And also the order of how I'm going through this. And that wraps up this video, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful at all or left feeling very inspired to become an AWS DevSecOps engineer, please make sure you like, subscribe, and also share with your friends who will also find this content helpful as well. The links to each of the certifications are going to be in the description, and the link to the DevSec Blueprint will also be in the description. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you join our Discord. And with that, I'll leave y'all with that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.